Do you actually know why your orange cat acts nothing like every other cat you've owned? You've probably heard the joke 100 times. Orange cats are special. Orange cats are food motivated. Orange cats are not the sharpest. It's everywhere online, and if you own one, you've probably nodded along and agreed. But here's what almost nobody explains. The real reason behind that reputation has almost nothing to do with intelligence, and everything to do with something written directly into your cat's chromosomes. And once you understand it, you'll never look at an orange cat the same way again. Let's start with the part almost no one gets right. 1. Orange isn't really a color, it's a chromosome. Most people assume orange fur works the same way as every other cat color. It doesn't. Almost every coat color in cats is controlled by genes that don't care whether a cat is male or female. But orange is different. The gene responsible for orange fur sits on the X chromosome, the same chromosome that determines sex. And that one detail changes everything about which cats end up orange in the first place. Here's the part that surprises people. Male cats only have one X chromosome, so if that single X carries the orange gene, the cat is orange, full stop. No competition, no dilution, nothing to override it. Female cats have two X chromosomes, which means they need the orange gene on both of them to turn out fully orange. And statistically, that's a much harder combination to land on. This single piece of biology is the reason for almost everything people associate with orange cats. And we haven't even gotten to the strangest part yet, because there's one specific twist in how female cats process this gene that changes their entire body in a way that has nothing to do with personality at all. We'll get to that near the end, and once you hear it, you'll understand why some cats are living proof of something happening at the cellular level, right under their fur. 2. This is why almost every orange cat you've met is male. Have you ever noticed that the vast majority of orange cats you come across seem to be male? That's not a coincidence, and it's not your imagination, because male cats only need one copy of the orange gene. The odds of an orange male showing up are dramatically higher than the odds of an orange female. Roughly 8 out of every 10 orange cats are male. Geneticists have tracked this ratio across cat populations for decades, and it holds up almost everywhere from house cats to feral colonies. Female cats need that orange gene doubled up, once from each parent, which is a much rarer roll of the genetic dice. So when you picture a classic orange tabby, your brain isn't wrong to picture a male. It's reflecting real, measurable genetics, not a stereotype someone made up. And this ratio is exactly why the entire orange cat personality reputation exists in the first place, because most of what people associate with orange cats might actually be describing something about male cats in general, not the color itself. Stick with me, because that distinction is about to matter a lot. And hey, if you're the kind of person who actually wants the real science behind these cat stereotypes instead of just the memes, take a second and hit subscribe. It helps us bring this kind of breakdown to more cat owners who are tired of guessing. 3. The females are where things get strange. If male cats only need one copy of the gene and female cats need two, what happens when a female cat gets just one? This is where it gets genuinely fascinating. A female cat with only one copy of the orange gene doesn't turn out orange. She doesn't turn out non-orange either. Instead, something remarkable happens inside her body. Early in development, one of her two X chromosomes in every single cell gets randomly and permanently switched off. In some cells, the X carrying the orange gene stays active. In other cells, the other X stays active instead. The result, patches of orange fur next to patches of a completely different color, scattered across her body in a pattern no two cats will ever share exactly. This is the actual biological explanation behind tortoiseshell and calico cats. It's not a separate coat pattern, it's a visible map of which X chromosome got shut off in each patch of skin, which means every calico and tortoiseshell cat you've ever seen is a living, walking example of random chromosome inactivation, something scientists spent decades trying to fully understand. And it's also why true calico and tortoiseshell cats are almost always female. A male would need two X chromosomes to create that patchwork in the first place, and normal male cats only have one. When a male calico does show up, and it happens maybe once in every 3,000 cats, it's usually because that cat has an extra X chromosome altogether, a genetic condition, not a stroke of unusual luck. 4. So why do people swear orange cats act different? Here's the question everyone actually wants answered. If orange is just a coat color determined by chromosome position, why do so many owners insist their orange cat has a completely different personality? The honest answer, there is no gene that directly links orange fur to friendliness, clumsiness, or being food obsessed. Geneticists have looked. That direct connection doesn't exist in the DNA, but that doesn't mean the stereotype came from nowhere. Remember what we just covered. Roughly roughly 80% of orange cats are male, and male cats, across many studies on feline behavior, do show measurable differences on average. Male cats are statistically more likely to be food motivated, more likely to roam, more likely to approach strangers without hesitation, and less likely to be cautious in new environments. Sound familiar? Every single one of those traits gets described online as classic orange cat behavior. But what's actually being described in most cases is classic male cat behavior. The color didn't cause the personality. The color simply predicted the sex, and the sex is where the behavioral tendency actually comes from. It's one of the most widespread cases of correlation getting mistaken for causation in the entire pet world, and it's been hiding in plain sight for years. 5. Outdoor history baked the reputation in even deeper. There's a second layer to this that most people never consider. Orange coloring isn't evenly spread across every cat population. It shows up at much higher rates in certain landrace populations. The loosely bred, free-roaming cats found around ports, farms, and older neighborhoods, especially in parts of Europe and along historic shipping routes. For generations, these were working cats, animals that survived by being bold, food-driven, and unbothered by strangers, because a shy, cautious cat doesn't do well fending for itself around docks and barns. Orange males from these populations were often the most visible, the most food-motivated, and the most willing to approach humans for a meal, which is exactly the reputation that eventually became the meme. In other words, the personality wasn't written into the orange gene. It was shaped by generations of a specific lifestyle that happened to produce a lot of orange cats. When one of their descendants ends up in your living room today, some of that old survival wiring can still be quietly running in the background. Roaming instinct, low caution around people, high interest in food, but none of it traces back to the color itself. It traces back to history. 6. Not every orange cat is actually orange. Have you ever seen a cat that looks almost cream or pale peachy blonde and wondered if it even counts as orange at all? It does. And there's a specific reason it looks that way. Sitting on top of the orange gene is a completely separate instruction called the dilution gene. When a cat inherits the dilute version of this gene, it doesn't remove the orange, it softens it. The same pigment that would normally clump tightly together to create that bold, fiery orange instead gets spread out more loosely across each strand of fur. Under a microscope, the difference is obvious. In a classic orange cat, pigment granules pack densely into the hair shaft. In a dilute orange cat, those same granules sit farther apart, scattering light differently and reading to our eyes as cream or pale ginger instead of orange. This is the same dilution mechanism responsible for turning black cats into blue-gray cats and turning chocolate-colored cats into lilac ones. It's not a different color family, it's the exact same gene running through a volume dial. So if you've ever owned a pale cream-colored cat and never realized they technically carry the orange gene, you were closer to owning an orange cat than you thought. 7. The eyes and the fur are more connected than you'd think. Here's a smaller detail most people never notice. Orange cats are far more likely to end up with green or gold eyes than blue or oddly mismatched ones. This isn't personality related, but it is genuinely interesting, and it comes from the same neighborhood of genetics. The pathways that build pigment in a cat's fur share some early developmental steps with the pathways that build pigment in the iris. Cats with strong orange pigmentation tend to also produce more of the pigment that creates warm eye colors. It's not a rule carved in stone. Plenty of exceptions exist, but the overlap is common enough that experienced breeders and vets can often guess a kitten's likely eye color just from knowing they carry the orange gene. It's a small reminder that a lot of what we casually call a cat's look is really just a handful of overlapping genetic switches, all being flipped by the same small set of instructions. 8. And this is the part I promised you at the beginning. Remember when I said there's a twist in how female cats process the orange gene that goes beyond fur color entirely? This is it, and it might be the most surprising fact in this entire video. That random X chromosome switch-off we talked about with calico cats, the one that creates their patchwork coat, doesn't just happen in skin cells. It happens in every single cell in a female cat's body that contains 2 X chromosomes, including cells completely unrelated to fur, which means a calico or tortoiseshell female isn't just a patchwork on the outside. At a cellular level, she is a genetic mosaic, 2 slightly different populations of cells living side by side throughout her entire body from a random coin flip that happened when she was just a tiny cluster of cells in early development. Scientists actually use female cats in genetic research specifically because of this phenomenon, since it's one of the clearest real-world examples of X inactivation in any mammal, humans included. So the next time someone tells you their orange cat is just built different, they're not entirely wrong. They just have the reason backwards. It was never about the color making the cat unusual. It's about one single chromosome quietly deciding sex, coat, and a strange piece of cellular history, all at the same time, long before that kitten ever opened its eyes for the first time.